right, shalom fam, shalom, shalom. Pray all is well. Everyone's had a productive pagan work week. Thank y'all for coming into the living room. We're gonna go ahead and get it popping real quick. Let's start with the blowing of the trumpet. Praises. All right. Gather the assembly. Now we're going to go ahead and go before the Father. Open up in prayer. Real quick. All praises. All praises. Todah Rabbah Abiyah for this new day of life, Father. We just thank you for watching over us through the cover of night and allowing us to see this new day, Abiyah, day close to our redemption, Abiyah. We just truly give you all praise, honor, and glory. First and foremost, I ask you, Abiyah, Salah, pardon me, Father, for my iniquities, my shortcomings, anything I thought that was contradictory to your way, Father. Pray that you will have mercy upon me to not lay these things to my charge, and that this prayer is not hindered. And as we continue to pray for our households, for our loved ones, our nation as a whole, our fathers and forefathers, all, Father, who will come before you, that you have, just salah, and pardon us, Father, for any iniquity and failings and shortcomings before you, Father, to not lay these things to our charge, Again, Father, we glorify you, we magnify you, we exalt you this day. I pray truly that you will inhabit our thoughts, inhabit our thoughts, and help us to discern the way this day, Father, that it may be pleasing in your sight, Father. We continue to just pray for your people scattered to the four corners of the earth, that your sheep will truly hear your voice, Father, and turn from all wickedness and shake off the dross, Father, and help us and cleanse us, Father. Cleanse us with hyssop, Father, that we may be purged from all these things, Father. We know that you can turn the hearts of kings, Father. You can turn the heart of man, Father. So we just pray for our people truly to just turn their hearts towards you, Father. And, if the world is even a stronghold, Father, we pray, Father, that you will just draw them, Father, as only you can, that they may know and understand your way, Father. Pray that you will watch over us this day, Father, as we, come together in fellowship. Father, we just pray truly traveling mercies for all those that are continuing to travel to and fro. Pray that your mala'ach, you will allow your mala'ach to guard us, Father, from danger seen or unseen. We just pray, Father, that this fellowship will be a sweet smell and savor to your nostrils, that it will be edifying for us, Father, and truly pleasing unto you. Pray, Abiyah, that we will truly subdue our own understandings, Father, that your Ruach Wadash, that your spirit may truly dwell within us, Father, to reveal all of those things that are needful for us in this day and in this time, that we may know not only who we are, but whose we are, what it is we need to do. We also say to the Rabbah for our kinsman redeemer, Yahweh, Father, his death, burial, and resurrection, his example on how to live in righteousness, even in captivity, Father, according to your ways, and also being our first fruits of those who live, Father, that we do not mourn as the world mourns, Father, but we have a hope beyond hope, Father. So we thank you for all of these things. And Father, again, pray every word of our mouth and meditation of our hearts acceptable in your sight. For you are our strength, Father, and you are our Redeemer. In your most holy name, magnify my Mashiach, Yahweh, Amen. All praises. All praises. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and get into a little bit of worship. All praises. Okay. Help us fight this battle, Father. We cannot do it without you. That's for darn sure. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get into it, family. Again, to our Rabbah for your presence here in the living room, fellowship. So I want to kind of speak on today about being pilgrims, being as pilgrims, and some texts say sojourners, some say foreigners, others say strangers. But the mindset of being, acknowledging yourself as a pilgrim or sojourner or foreigner or stranger in these strange lands. So because for us, they're strange lands, right? We've been sent to the lands of our captivity. These are not the lands of our homes, even though we've come up in these places, but it's not our home as Yashara'al. And we need to have the mindset of being pilgrims. What'd you say? No, it's not our stay. It's not our stay, and we can't make it our stay. And our minds have to be as as pilgrims passing through. And I know some people say, well, we have to live here. We grew up here. We picked up traditions and all of these things. And yeah, and that's true. We've been here, for generations. However, now Most High revealing to us, who we are, and the scales being removed from our eyes and our hearts as well. We should understand that this isn't our stay, that we are in the lands of our captivity, that we can no longer allow ourselves to be caught up in the traditions that we've been brought up in, knowing that they are pagan. We talked, I think, a couple of weeks ago about the oil for our lamps being, our faith, the works that we do to please the Most High, the works that we do to show forth that light, that light into a dark place, that light in the midst of chaos, that light in the midst of all of this darkness. And that's what, being a pilgrim is. It's not conforming to the world, just like I think was that in Romans, I believe it's 12 speaks about, be not conformed to the world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So it's not about conforming. It's not about being so comfortable that, you in your mind, you're making this your mainstay. Like, I have to anchor down in this place, so that the hostilities towards me might lessen, or whatever the case. It's crazy that we were talking about this last night, just speaking about just, so-called copper people, how when they get money, a lot of them get money and think that, it's made them equal with their oppressors, right? Make them kind of sort of equal with their oppressors. And, I won't get the same treatment, as the quote unquote lesser copper people, if you, for lack of a better term or whatever the case may be. And here it is. We were talking about it last night. I remember the brother who's driving around in his Bentley. Him and his son driving around his Rolls Royce, actually, him and his son, and got pulled over by a cop for whatever reason. I can't remember. And, was basically being harassed by the cop, and was upset, and was just totally beside himself when the cop called him the N-word. was totally beside himself. Like, man, how is this happening? I mean, I'm this. I've established myself in this place. I've established myself in the world. And how was he calling me the N-word and this and that? And I'm telling you, we spoke about that joint, the Protocols of Zion, I believe it is, in there. I'm like, these people don't care. The money is nothing. You know what I mean? People have placed a value on this thing, and they don't care whether you're driving a BMW or a Bentley or this, that. They don't care about any of that. You know what I mean? You are who you are. And again, just like Mashiach said, right, in Matthew 24, it said, you will be hated of all nations for his name's sake. So it is what it is. So, but the mindset is for us to truly be as pilgrims passing through, not conforming to the world, not conforming. And that's, what what we do. I know we try to make it, practical, because I know a lot of people still to this day, they ask the question, how does how does this thing work? How do we apply this? And again, I mean, if you're reading the book, I should say meditating, which we should be supposed to do, meditating this word day and night. And meditating, again, is, speaking this word unto yourself, reading and speaking this word and applying it unto your life. If you're truly doing this, I mean, you have to believe it. You have to believe it in order to walk it out. Right. If you're just reading it as some type of, feel good novel or whatever the case may be, and then taking what's being shown to you and just, letting it go over your head, it's just not going to work. It's just, we're reading this and we're meditating in it and we're making it applicable to our lives. Just like Mashiach said, he's only quoting from us. I can't remember in Deuteronomy, but, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of the Most High shall man live. Shall we live? Shall we live by every word that proceeds out of his mouth? So it's not about just reading it and letting it go over our heads. It's about reading it and applying it. And this is what it is. And if, just like as we prayed earlier, if Mashiach is our example, he lived, and others as well before him lived as sojourners, foreigners, strangers, pilgrims in the earth, as we will read. So that word sojourner, or sojourning, right? I believe it's H4033, which is magawar. And the very first definition that came up was a temporary abode, or temporary place, a temporary home. And the root is gawar, which is H1481, I believe. Gawar. And 4 definitions came up. It says to turn aside from the road for a lodging or any other purpose, to sojourn as a guest, to shrink, fear, as in a strange place. That one got me. It reminded me of Deuteronomy 28:65-67, and we'll read that. To shrink or fear as in a strange place, to gather for hostility as being afraid. So again, none of those speaks to a permanent residence or a permanent place. It's it's like being on going on vacation, right? You take your clothes, it's not what you don't take everything, because you're not planning on staying. You're not planning on staying. You take what's, your necessities, clothes and necessities, it's not whatever. You stay for a while. You may stay for, a week. You may stay for a month or even longer. But the whole mindset is you're not there to anchor in. You're there for a while. This now, whatever, do what you got to do and come back. Right. And this is, where our mindset should be now that the Most High has removed the scales from our eyes. We're dwelling here temporarily. So we deal temporarily, but our mindset is on getting back home. It's on getting back home, getting back to the place where the Most High has set for us. All praise. And so that, like I said, that definition reminded me of Deuteronomy 28:65-67, especially when it says to shrink or fear as in a strange place. So you're not completely comfortable there. Deuteronomy 28:65-67. One of the consequences of disobedience here. It says, moreover, among those nations, he will not give you quiet. Neither by any means shall the sole of your foot have rest. And Yah shall give you there another and a misgiving heart, and failing eyes, and a wasting soul, and your life shall be in suspense before your eyes, and you shall be afraid by day and by night, and you shall have no assurance of your life. 67. In the morning you shall say, would it were evening, and in the evening you shall say, would it were morning. For the fear of your heart with which you shall fear, and for the sights of your eyes which you shall see. So you're in this place, you're living in this place, you're dwelling in this place, but you're not comfortable because of because you're in the midst of your enemies. One thing I used to always say, back in the day when I was running the streets and things like that, I was always say, keep your head on a swivel. And I've carried that on into my adulthood. Keep your head on a swivel. Teach taught my children that, continue to tell them that, when they go out, and keep your head on a swivel. Don't believe everything you hear. Do not be naive. Don't be naive. Because Mashiach said again, and if you know who he is speaking to, he said, Matthew 24, I can't remember which verse it is, but he says, you shall be hated of all. Right? Of all. Matter of fact, let me quote it exactly how he says it. What you say? What'd you say? I can't hear. Verse 9, right? Matthew 24, verse 9. Then they will deliver you up to tribulation, put you to death, and you will be hated by all nations. All, not some, all nations for my name's sake. Every last one of them are going to hate you because they hate the Father. Okay? It says your enemies make tumult. They hate the Father, so they're going to hate you. So there's no way we can dwell here and be naive to what's taking place or be naive to what's going on. Believe every word. No. I take words, everything with a grain of salt. Everything. Don't believe. That's just who I am. But like I said, I don't want to prolong this because we should have this mindset already. But, again, there are some that are still trying to get a foothold in this life. And when things don't work out, or when things not looking their way, or how they perceived, they're jacked up. Because I hear it. I get calls, this and that, and people are jacked up because they, things are not going the way they perceive them to go. That again, trying to be a little bit too comfortable in this life, and just taking what the Most High has given us and letting it go over their head, or just not believing it at all. So this is not coming from just, whatever. I mean, I know the Most High is giving us, again, he shows me these things. These are things I struggled with at one point, and now I'm just, sharing it so that we can just. Oh, is that me? Was that someone coming on? I guess not. Just sharing these things so that, we can make these, make it practical, and make it livable. First,
because you can put your attention, you can put your focus on the Bentleys and the things like that, but that's their stuff. We don't own none of that stuff. That's their stuff. They selling you what they have, but we should be focused on getting our stuff back.
And the thing is, Khan, and what it is, man, is I was literally speaking to Linda. I was speaking to her. I think I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before. The illusion is that you have some type of control. You have a say so in this life. You know what I mean? And you don't. Like the powers that be. We know that Hashatan is the prince of this world, and he has minions. He this spiritual wickedness in high places and all of these things. And I was literally just listening to what's her name, Cheryl from y'all know her as Salt from Salt and Pepper. I was listening to something she the things that she was saying yesterday. I mean, you've been fed an illusion. That's like the Revelation said. Satan Hashatan deceives the whole world. You've been fed an illusion to believe that you have a say so, that, you have power and the whole 9 yards to do that. There is none. There is none. You are literally living in the Matrix for anyone who's seen that movie, right? You are literally living in the Matrix. And our job is to get our minds back again. Be not conformed to this world, but be you transformed by the renewing of your mind, according to, living by every word that proceeds out of the Most High's mouth, so that you're not naive, so that you're not taken by surprise, so that these things that are taking place in the avatars in the earth, are not taking you by surprise. The things that are happening, so that you can ready yourself, so that you can ready yourself for, Mashiach's, soon coming. Because like I said, this is what we do. We've talked about it from the very beginning. The mission is to be able to rightly pass under the rod, to successfully pass under that rod, that we may walk in the way of righteousness. All right. I think the last Shemana says, what is it? Darak HaKodash, the path, or the way of holiness, the path of righteousness. Darak HaKodash. That's what we're trying to get to. And that's, the whole purpose of us in fellowship and our meditating and making this thing applicable to our lives, so that we can walk in the way of righteousness. Because again, we already know, just as the text says, we may all be gathered into the wilderness, but not everyone's going to make it out of the wilderness into the way of righteousness, unfortunately. Praying that we all can just gird up our loins and endure hardness as those good soldiers, and to be able to do what's right in the sight of the Most High, to be able to do this. So again, part of that is having this mindset that you are not a permanent resident in the places of your captivity. Right? We don't want to be as the wicked Israelites, wicked Yashara'al, spoken about in Maccabees, in First Maccabees chapter 1, right? Trying to make themselves comfortable and cause themselves to leave the things that, leave the culture, leave the heritage, leave the things that the Most High had given, and leave the way that you were supposed to live, in order to, be comfortable in that Greek captivity. Right? I mean, that's not what it's about. And remember, Hasatan is very subtle. Make it seem as if, you're doing something. Well, I'm not really doing anything too off kilter, or whatever the case may be. Next thing you know, you're not fellowshipping, you're not reading, you're not praying, you're not seeking after him anymore. And I'm telling you, I've seen it. I've seen it. Where you get so comfortable in doing you, and we're going to read about that, the vanity of self-indulgence. You get so comfortable in doing you that you completely throw away the things of the Most High. Completely. Texts talk about, falling away. So it's not that we're saying anything crazy. It happens, and it's going to continue to happen until Mashiach cracked that sky. Right? Sure, I think it was in John, was it 6? Because, they weren't understanding or wasn't feeling what Mashiach was saying. I think at the point he had like 70 followers, and they weren't understanding or feeling what he was saying. And what happened? In one instance, 58 people walked away. 58. Is it 58? Yeah. He ended up with 12. Yeah. 58 people walked away from him. And this is Mashiach, who was performing miracles and doing all of these things in front of these people. They were walking with them. They dwelt with them. And 58 in one shot left. And he didn't cry after them. He didn't do any of that. Matter of fact, he looked at the 12 that stayed and said, will you go away too? Go and read it, John. I think it's in John 6, I believe. He said, will you go too? So again, just like we talked about, I think it was the last week, man, I don't have to debate with you. I ain't got to fight with you. I'm not going to fight with anyone for what is good for you, what is needful for you. I'm not doing that. He didn't. Like he asked the 12, you like, hey, will you go away also? And they're like, nah, man, you have what's needful for life. So we sticking with you. And that's what it's really about. So, but let's hit this one right here. Hebrews 11. Okay, Doc, you got it.
No, I just was gonna say, yeah, it's really, to the culture. It's really a culture conversation because we are in the position that we in, and we hold on to the culture that we found here, whether it's the music or the way we express ourselves or the fashion or art. And creative arts make up like 5% of what a culture is, but we take so much pride in that 5% of culture that we have here, and we really should focus on getting our culture back. It's
That's
because
it.
it's all there. Everything you need is all there, not just your creative arts.
Gone. And to your point, the biggest thing with that is you have to believe that it is your culture.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I
Facts.
mean? That's the biggest thing. And if you don't believe it, then you're just not going to receive it, and you're not going to walk in it. You know what I mean? And honestly, I that's like a lot of the issue. I mean, there's many that are reading and hearing, but they're not necessarily believing and making it applicable to them. Well, this is somebody else. Because for a long time, that's what we were taught, right? That this is all of this has to do with a whole other people. And now, the scales are being removed. Most High showing us that, nah, that ain't it. That it was never them. It's you, right? So now it's just making it applicable to you, and walking in it so that you can now understand and know that you do have a culture. You do have a heritage. There is a way of life for you. As a so-called black man, black woman, or whatever. I call them the copper beings. You do have a culture. You do have a heritage, and it's right here, and it's been in your face all along. But the Most High had closed our eyes to it because of disobedience. Now He's revealing these things to you. Are you going to receive it? Are you going to receive it? What is that first verse in Hebrews 11 to say? Those that come to the Most High have to first believe that He is, and that He is a rewarder of them that seek Him. You have to first believe Him, but then believe the words that He's revealing to you. Right? Receive His ruach, receive His Spirit.
Yep, because you taking on His culture is showing Him that you believe Him.
There it is. It is. That's what Jeremiah 17:4 says. That when he was removing her, He said, I'm removing the heritage which I gave you. So you have to
But
first receive it. Go ahead, Op.
yeah, it always comes down to that choice, though. Do you believe in man or Yah? You know what I mean? And
Con.
then and it's a choice. It's an easy choice. You guys are talking about whether we believe or not, but really, man, are we going to choose the way of man, which man is presented his way? But that's always a choice.
That's it. That's it. I mean, man has presented his way. He's presented his way all of our natural lives, right? And we didn't know until the Most High woke us up. Tapped us upside the head. Be like, okay, it's time to wake up now. Receive the fresh manna that I'm giving you now. Are you gonna receive it and walk in it, right? And be that. And be that pilgrim. Just know that your time in these captivities it's just for a little while. It's just for a little while. But He is not slack. He is not slack, right? There is an appointed time. There is a time that He will send Mashiach. Just like He spoke about in Matthew 24 and Luke 21. He will send Mashiach along with the Mala'ach, along with the angels, and gather his elect from the four corners of the earth. Right? You see it in a couple of places. So there is a time, and we don't want to be so anchored into these establishments that we missed the boat.
Well, the thing about it is, we Yah gave us the culture in the beginning, and here we
Mm-hmm.
go. You see us in Samuel. Let me get a king. You see
All
us
right.
time and time again. Golden calf, etc. What we seen in Egypt. You see us trying to be like the nations to the point where y'all like, fine, just go be it. Now he trying you again. Will you take it
Mm.
this time?
Yep.
But we didn't
Yep.
want it at the beginning. So all we got to do is show them, hey, we proud of it. We want it. We want to
There
walk
it
in this.
is. There it is. There it is. It's just like in the times of Egypt, I believe. Aaron and Moses were going to our people, and after the Most High had spoken with them, and they were going to our people. Okay, come up out of all this, all this Egyptian stuff that you were used to. It's time to come up out of this. The Most High is about to deliver us from the hands of the Egyptians. Come up out of this, and then you see in the plague of darkness how some of Yashara'al died because they wouldn't listen to Aaron and Moses. They wouldn't listen to him, right? So some of Yashara'al had to die, right, and wasn't even spoken of anymore. So I mean, it's ain't nothing new under the sun. Ain't nothing new under the sun, man. It's time to come up out of these things, and and allow for some discomfort to take place, right? Allow for some discomfort. I mean, because a lot of people they're driven by validation of man and validation of things or whatever, and that's not us. The Most High has validated us already, man. We need to walk in that, right? So Hebrews 11, I'm gonna read 13 through 16. Hebrews 11, 13 through 16. Hebrews 11, starting at verse 13, says, and of course, it's mentions some of our foreparents, Enoch and Abraham, and Noah and Sarah, and some of our descendants. And so, verse 13 says, "These all died in faith." Okay, they died doing. They died doing, not just believing, but they died, doing the things, of the Most High. Not having received the things promised, but having seen them and greeted them from afar, and having acknowledged that they were strangers and exiles on the earth. Okay? Having acknowledged that they were strangers and exiles on the earth, understanding that this is not my mainstay. Well, at least where they were currently, because we know that the text says that the meek shall inherit the earth. The kingdom is coming back to our ties, right? But where they are currently, and they're not even in captivity, okay? So their current situation, they're saying basically that's not the mainstay. That's not, this is not what it is. This is, you know what I mean? We're seeking the kingdom. We're seeking the kingdom. All right. We're seeking the fullness of the kingdom, because again, the meek shall inherit the whole earth, not just the portion of land. It says the meek shall inherit the earth, but it's in righteousness. It's in true righteousness where the Most High is dwelling amongst us as well, right? You have the kingdom, but there's still the whole earth. So they're basically saying their current situations, this is not what it is. This is not the whole thing. There's more that we're looking forward to, right? So they acknowledge that they were strangers and exiles on the outcasts. Verse 14, for people who speak this make it clear that they are seeking a homeland. If they had been thinking of that land from which they had gone out, they would have had opportunity to return. But as it is, they desire a better country that is a heavenly one. Therefore, the Most High is not ashamed to be called their power, for he has prepared for them a city. So again, remember what I said about the so-called New Testament and, some of the wording and things like that, playing words, they're trying to make you think that, everyone is going to heaven. No, that's not the case. Because again, it says the meek shall inherit the earth. All right. So they're basically saying in their current state, and that wasn't even in captivity, that current state of affairs is not the kingdom, is not, the place where the Most High is dwelling, or the righteousness hasn't been, the full righteousness hasn't been fulfilled yet. So we're seeking beyond these things. We're seeking beyond these things. All right. But the whole premise is the mindset of being a stranger, a sojourner, a foreigner in the earth, in these lands, until the Most High truly establishes the righteousness on the earth.
Man, but that verse right there, man, it said that you doing that, so y'all ain't ashamed to say he your God. Man, that's powerful. Because
Huh.
when you turn around and say, man, I want to do Christmas, I want to be the American man, forget your culture, he ashamed.
Gone.
Yeah, I didn't read
Gone.
it, you read it. He ashamed.
Exactly right. God,
Hey, chapter
God.
verse, man, he ashamed. You know what I'm saying?
Chapter verse.
Yeah.
Chapter verse. Chapter verse, man. It's real. It's real. Now, we talk about the traditions of man and all of these things, and who are we to say what the Most High is going to wink at and what he's not? You know what I mean? Just like that text talks about in Acts, man. There was a time when the Most High did wink at ignorance. There was a time, right? But now he's calling for all of us everywhere to repent. So there was a time for that. Now, say we can't make up in our minds, okay, oh well, if I do this not the Most High, yeah, he ain't worried about that. He ain't think about that. Who are we to say what the Most High is worried about or not worried about? We live in the lands of our captivities. We live in the midst of our enemies. Every single thing around us basically is pagan. And not saying, we know of everything that is, but we can go and do our research and this, that, whatever, and find out what it is we should be doing from what it is we should not be doing. Again, we have these fellowships. We have those who, may do research, this, that, whatever. I always say go and do your due diligence, right? But there's things we need to come up out of. It just is what it is. And say, you know what? I'm going to worship the Most High in spirit and in truth. Okay, we know His word is the truth, and His Ruach, is giving us the power to overcome some things and have discernment and see some things for what they are. And we have to do that. We have to do that. It's been given to us to do it. So we have to take it upon ourselves and to truly have that oil for our lamps so that our light may shine, truly be those set apart people, so that others will see that light, be drawn to it, and magnify the Most High in Shemayim. The second script I want to go to is 1 Peter 2. Did you really? Oh snap! Excuse me, Miss Thing. No, that's not in the notes. But hey, whatever works, it helps. That's 2 Peter 2. I'm going to start at verse 11. Well, actually, you know what? Let me start at verse 9. And it's just, to me, it amazes me how these I always call them foundational texts. These texts continue to circulate. They continue to circulate, in our studies. Not just, this and, on the Christian Trav, Danny and, other places I may, I go to, or some I may listen to. These same texts keep coming up. It's for a reason, for us to get it, trying to pound it in our heads. Look, it's beyond that time. We've got to get it. We've got to get it. Because the text also says, can't remember where, I think it's one of the prophets, they will know that a prophet has been amongst them. So no one has the excuse that you didn't know or that you didn't get it. No one has the excuse. Even if you think somebody never gotten it before, 9 times out of 10, they've heard it. They've heard it. They've seen something. The Most High showed it from something. I mean, I remember when I was first, Most High started first waking us up, and and I'm like, man, I honestly can't say I never heard this stuff before. I really can't say that. Because I remember coming through New York and being on being out there in the street in Manhattan and, seeing the brothers. And even though they may not have had the right spirit, some of that knowledge they were spewing forth was the truth. Okay. Had people come into the church that I grew up in, you know what I mean? They were a singing group called the Israelites. And they were speaking some things back then. And the Most High started bringing all this stuff back to my remembrance. Okay, that you know what? You have heard these things before. You have heard these things before coming up as a child and even as a young adult. You have heard these things. So I can't speak to who heard what and what experiences that individuals have had, this, now, whatever. But I'm telling you, when I speak to certain people, they usually bring up some type of experience that they had or something that they heard or whatever the case may be concerning the truth. Now, again, what you do with it is on you. But a lot of people whom I've had the pleasure of being in the midst of, I'm telling you, have had an experience with the Most High dealing with them concerning the truth. So again, it's yes, the Most High is dealing with us as a nation. However, we are scattered and we have our individual lives. But I'm telling you, the word is out there, and it's been out there. It's been out there. What are we going to do with it? Yes, what I say? 1 Peter 2. I'm starting at verse 9. I'm reading 9 through 16.
Man, that just reminded me of that verse, man, and say, from I forget how it's worded. I'm just paraphrasing. When it says from the beginning that heaven has been there, and you got to take it. You got to take it violently. I think it's Matthew 11. But
Oh
the
yeah,
violent take it by force,
of
because
course.
the culture been there for you to take it back. You just have to. You just got to go take it back.
Yeah. It's always been there, right? It's always been there. Like I said, the Most High, he put he put the scales over our eyes so that we would see because of the disobedience of our forefathers. Again, we understand that, but now he's removing that. He's removing that. He's even removing the veil that he put over the whole world. You know what I mean? Did you have even some strangers coming in and making it clear? You know what I mean? So it is what it is, man. We are in those times. So 1 Peter chapter 2, starting at verse 9, 9 through 16. It says, but you are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy set apart nation, a people for his own possession, that you may proclaim the excellencies of him who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. Once you were not a people, but now you are the Most High's people. Speaking to what he said to the northern tribes. Now you are the Most High's people. Once you had not received mercy, but now you have received mercy. Verse 11, beloved, I urge you as sojourners and exiles. Okay. As sojourners and exiles. Okay. Temporary residences. To abstain from the passions of the flesh, which wage war against your soul. Abstain from the passions of the flesh, which wage war against your soul. Keep your conduct among the Gentiles or the nations. Keep your conduct among them honorable. Honorable. And what does that mean? Keeping these law, statutes, commandments, living by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of the Most High, being set apart. Being set apart, right? Hold that real quick. Where did we read that one joint? Yes, and hold that real quick. And you don't have to turn here, but that when it says keep your conduct among the nations, Gentiles honorable, right? It reminds me of the Hebrews 12, verse 14, where it says, strive for peace with everyone and for the holiness and for the set apartness without which no one will see Yah. Okay? Strive for it. Strive to be set apart. Strive for it. We ain't supposed to be like everybody else. We're not supposed to be. Right? So it says, keep your conduct among the nations, the Gentiles, honorable, so that when they speak against you as evildoers, they may see your good deeds and glorify the Most High on the day of visitation. Okay? So that they may see your light because you are living set apart. Right? Verse 13, be subject for Yah's sake to every human institution, whether it be to the emperor as supreme or to governors as sent by him to punish those who do evil and to praise those who do good. Which reminds me of Matthew 22, 17 to 21, right? And then you don't have to go there. This is them trying to, basically trying to confound Yahushua, confound Mashiach, right? Matthew 22, 17 to 21. Tell us then what you think. Is it lawful to pay taxes to Caesar or not? But Yahushua, aware of their malice, said, why put me to the test, you hypocrites? Show me the coin for the tax. And they brought him a denarius. And Yahushua said to them, whose likeness and inscription is this? They said, Caesar's. Then he said to them, therefore render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to the Most High the things are the Most High's. So again, we live in these institutions, follow the laws of the land. It's now whatever, boom, 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 and try to get over. Don't don't put yourself in harm's way. Don't put yourself in a place where, you're going to get yourself jacked up or arrested or whatever. Just comply. Right? Don't do nothing stupid. Don't do nothing. We have to be here in these lands, just comply with the laws of the land. You know what I mean? We're going to read that text that talks in Jeremiah where it talks about, build your houses and plant your vineyards and all of these things. Pray for the peace of the city so that you yourself may have peace. Right? Don't go do anything stupid and break laws and this now, whatever. Don't do any of that. That's he Most High telling us to do that. Right? We put ourselves in this position. Now you just live accordingly without compromising and anchoring yourself too much so that you lose yourself. All right. So verse 15, and again, 1 Peter 2, verse 15, for this is the will of the Most High, that by doing good, you should put to silence the ignorance of foolish people. Verse 16, live as people who are free, not using your freedom as a cover-up for evil or dysfunction, but living as servants of the Most High. Okay. And again, beloved, I urge you as sojourners and exiles, having that mindset. I'm a sojourner. I'm an exile. I'm not here to make a permanent residence. Okay. I have to live here. I'm in captivity. I have to live here. I have to be here. I'm going to dwell, but I'm going to dwell with the mindset that I'm still seeking, the hope of the Most High, and not causing myself to get jacked up by the law or whatever, or putting myself in a position to be jacked up by the law, not, doing anything crazy, just living by every word that proceeds out of his mouth. And you're going to be called foolish. By family, by loved ones, you're going to be called foolish. You're going to be called crazy. You're going to be called all of these things. People are going to look at you strange. Your family may treat you different. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Don't put yourself on their radar. Exactly. I mean, we are the target anyway, but don't put yourself on a radar to just jack yourself and be put in jail or don't do that, man. By some foolish choices. Nah. All right. Just live as the Most High wants us to live. Again, living set apart. Just living set apart is going to cause you to be looked at crossways anyway. Because again, you're living in the land of your enemies. This now whatever they're looking at you. Oh, they don't do this and they do that. Da, 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 da. Just like even back in the day, Oh, these Hebrews, man, they don't live as we live. Let's go jack them up. Let's go jack them up. Let's make their life hard. Da 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 da. Ain't nothing new under the sun, fam. Ain't nothing new, son. Is that going to cause you to, separate yourself from the Most High? Is that going to cause you to want to be, in the midst of the heathen and, do what the heathen does because you want to live comfortably? And if that's the case, then you will have your reward. Your reward will be with them. All right. So again, living as a pilgrim also, another foundational text that we always bring up, 2 Timothy 2, 3 and 4. 2 Timothy 2, 3 and 4. Share in suffering as a good soldier of Mashiach. No soldier gets entangled in civilian pursuits, since his aim is to please the one who enlisted him. Like we're hearing about this war taking place. And again, just like Mashiach said, right, there's going to be wars and rumors of wars. And he said that way back then. And there's been wars and rumors of wars going on since then. We know currently we're hearing about, the U.S. and the fish people attacking Iran and all of these things. And again, this stuff is supposed to play out. It's going to play out. Remember, these people were out here playing checkers, the Most High playing chess, man. These things were spoken about, right? And again, there's nothing new under the sun, just as it was spoken of. And I was thinking, in Isaiah and Jeremiah, how there was Most High was going to stir up the Medes against Babylon, against Babal. There's nothing new under the sun. What is this current construct called? What is this current construct? Modern day what? Babylon. The same things are happening. Stirred up the Medes against Babylon back in the day, when after our exile or while we were in exile. And here we are in modern day Babylon, which is the whole system. And again, who's stirred up? The Medes. It's nothing new under the sun. This thing is real. This thing is real. So we have to ready ourselves. So I put this down. Settling as a pilgrim or sojourner, foreigner, however you want to call it, however it's written down in the book. Settling as a pilgrim, however, know that you are just that and do not become complacent. Do not become complacent. All right? Complacent, this definition right here. Marked by satisfaction with the status quo, with normalcy, right? Marked by satisfaction with the status quo, especially when accompanied by unawareness of actual dangers or deficiencies. You become naive. You just believe the construct. You believe the matrix and everything that's said in and done in it. You believe it, and I'm good. I'm good. I'm chilling. I don't want any isms or schisms. So I'm just going to make myself comfortable and boom, boom, and live life like nothing's happening and be oblivious. No, man, that's not what it is. That's a good way to jack yourself up. Okay, so settle in as a pilgrim, however, know that you are just that and do not become complacent. Do not become complacent. Jeremiah 29. Where is it? Jeremiah 29, verses 4 to 7. Jeremiah 29. Verses 4 to 7. The Septuagint is Jeremiah 36, I believe. So Jeremiah 29 in Masoretic, 36 in the Septuagint. I'm reading verses 4 to 7, but I'm going to start with verse 1 real quick. It says, "And these are the words of the book which Jeremiah sent from Jerusalem to the elders of the captivity, and to the priests, and to the false prophets, even an epistle to Babylon for the captivity, and to all the people." Skip down to verse 4. "This says Yah Elohim of Yashara'al concerning the captivity which I caused to be carried away from Yerushalayim. Build you houses and inhabit them, and plant gardens and eat the fruits thereof. Take you wives and beget sons and daughters, and take wives for your sons and give your daughters to husbands. Take wives for your sons and give your daughters to husbands, and be multiplied and be not diminished." Okay, continue to multiply. Verse 7, "And seek the shalom of the land into which I have carried you captive. And you shall pray to Yah for the people, for in its shalom you shall have shalom." Right? So go ahead and do these things. Dwell there, and pray and seek the shalom, seek the peace of the land. Why? So that you can have peace. Do these things and seek the peace of the land so that you can have peace. Meaning, the powers that be around you and all of these things, may not be coming at you, in a harsh way or whatever the case may be. Not saying that everything around you is going to be hunky-dory, just like with Mashiach sleeping in the belly of the ship. He was in the midst of the storm, but his trust was in the Most High. He was still in the midst of the storm, though. So we're in the midst of our enemies. We're in the midst of captivity, right? However, we can still have shalom in that. I mean, we look at some of our fathers and forefathers. Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. They were in captivity, but the Most High, kind of gave them positions and gave them a little bit of shalom. And we can look at Yashara'al, Joseph. He had a little bit of shalom. He had a position or whatever. And again, not everyone's going to have a position of leadership or whatever the case may be, but you can have some type of shalom. You can still dwell and plant your vineyards and have these houses and have families and multiply. Do all of these things. Live. Not saying that we are living yet, but do these things even in the midst of captivity. Don't just, sit around and woe is me and this and that, whatever, and, just saying sad Negro spirituals all day. No. The Most High Spirit is dwelling in you. Okay, even in the midst of looking in Egypt, in the midst of the troubles that were taking place, we were still multiplying, we were still growing. And we still have to grow. That light has to to be shining light. Do not hide it under a bushel. That light has to still shine brightly. It's like the text says, right? Greater is he that is within us than he that is in the world. So our situation cannot overpower and overcome us to the point where we just give up and die. No, that's not what it's about. We're not going to give up and die. Just because we're pilgrims and foreigners in these strange lands, we're not going to give up and die. We're not going to give up and die. All right. So this script right here, we're almost done. This script right here is a beautiful script, and I think it speaks to exactly, how we supposed to be living as a pilgrim, foreigner, stranger in this time. This is 2nd Esdras, chapter 16. Second Esdras, chapter 16. Of course, I'm reading it out of the CCC, and I'm most going to have the King James Version or Brenton's Version. Reading out of CCC, which is the Covenant Christian Coalition. This makes things a little bit plainer. 2nd Esdras chapter 16, starting at, what did I say? I'm going to read verses 17 to 28. And then I'm going to read verses 35 to 44. 2nd Ezra 16, 17 to 28, then 35 to 44. Okay. So if you read the first verses, woe to you, Babal, woe to you, Babylon and Asia, woe to you, Egypt and Syria. Okay. So it's all these places where we may have been, captive but again, this is end time situations. Ezra's just, kind of conversing with the Most High, and the Most High showing him a whole lot of things that are going to take place in the Arataj. So starting at verse 17, it reads, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? Verse 18, the beginning of sorrows, and there will be great mourning, the beginning of famine, and many will perish, the beginning of wars, and the powers will stand in fear, the beginning of evils, and all will tremble. What will they do in all this when the evils will come? I was looking at this young sister yesterday, man. She had this caption. It was like, we're already in the famines. We're already in those times. When you think about it, and when she's talking about it, I was like, wow. She said, we're already in the time of famines. I said, look how we have to kind of traverse and look to see what foods we're going to eat. Our foods have been laced with all types of GMOs and pesticides and all of these things, and we're constantly I know at least we are. We're constantly in the stores making sure the foods don't have natural, the quote unquote natural flavors, or swine, or these modified, all of these modified products, and the bioengineered and this and that, whatever. We're constantly looking for those things. So we're already in those times of famine, right? Because we know these things are harmful to the body, this, that, whatever, and we're just really trying to parse our way through and discern, and see what to buy, what not to buy, because again, the times that we're in. Right. So verse 18 again, the beginning of sorrows, and there will be great mourning, the beginning of famine, and many will perish, the beginning of wars, and the powers will stand in fear, the beginning of evils, and all will tremble. What will they do in all this? What did I say, 28? What will they do in all this when the evils will come? Verse 19, behold, famine and plague, suffering and anguish. They are sent as scourges for amendment. But for all these things, they will not turn them from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. They will not turn from their wickedness. Verse 21, behold, food will be so good cheap upon our tithes, upon earth, that they will think themselves to be in good case. And even then will evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of those who dwell upon earth will perish of famine, and the other that escape the famine will the sword destroy. And the dead will be cast out as dung, and there will be no man to comfort them, for the earth will be left desolate, and the cities thereof will be cast down. There will be no husbandmen left to till the earth and to sow it. The trees will give fruit, and who will gather them? The grapes will ripen, and who will tread them? For in all places there will be a great forsaking. For one man will desire to see another, or to hear his voice. For of a city there will be 10 left, and 2 of the field, which have hidden themselves in the thick groves and in the clefts of the rocks. Now let's go down, going to jump down to verse 39. Yeah, we 39, what I say? 35, excuse me, verse 35. 35 to 44. Hear now these things and understand them, you servants of Yah. Behold the word of Yah, receive it. Disbelieve not the things whereof Yah speaks. I'm going to read that again. Hear now these things and understand them, you servants of Yah. Behold the word of Yah, receive it. Disbelieve not the things whereof Yah speaks. 37. Behold, the evils draw near and are not slack. Just as a woman with child in the 9th month, When the hour of her delivery draws near, within 2 or 3 hours, doleful pains surround her womb. And when the child comes out from the womb, there will be no waiting for a moment. Verse 39. Even so will not the evils be slack to come upon the Aratas, upon the earth, and the world will groan, and sorrows will take hold of it on every side. Verse 40, here it is. O my people, hear my word. Make you ready to the battle. Make you ready to the battle. And in those evils, be even as pilgrims upon the earth. Okay? So don't conform to anything. Be as pilgrims, be as foreigners, be as strangers on the earth in the midst of that. All right, Papa, love you, man. All right. Make you ready to the battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. Verse 41. He that sells, listen to this. He that sells, let him be as he that flees away. And he that buys, as one that will lose. He that occupies merchandise, as he that has no profit by it. And he that builds, as he that will not dwell therein. 43. He that sows, as if he should not reap, so also he that prunes the vines, as he that will not gather the grapes. Those who marry, as those who will get no children, and those who marry not, as the widow. And as much as verse 45, and as much as those who labor in vain. So I'm not saying it. This is what look at what the text is saying. Make you ready to the battle, and those evils be even as pilgrims, as strangers and foreigners. And then it lists, it speaks to you and tells you what that mindset is. So again, this ain't me. This ain't me. It's telling you. He that sells, let him be as he that flees away. He that buys, as one that will lose. He that occupies merchandise, as he that has no profit. He that builds, as he that will not dwell therein. He that sows, as he should not reap. He that prunes the vines, as if he will not gather the grapes. Those who marry, as those who will not get any children. And those who marry not, as the widow. And so on. I'm sure there's so on and so forth, this and that, whatever. But as you can see exactly what it's saying, the mindset that we're supposed to have. Because our hope is not in anything in this life. Our hope should not be in money. Our hope should not be in a job or anything like. I'm not saying that you don't have these things. We thank the Most High for being able to work and be able to, sustain and maintain and things of that nature. But our hope is not supposed to be in these things. Because if it is, it now becomes an idol that you will worship. It will cause you to leave the things of the Most High. And I know I'm not the only one that's seen people worship money or worship, their hobby or the things that they're doing and cause themselves to leave the very things that they were, looking at or studying before. You see it all the time. Right? Again, Thessalonians talking about that falling away. Whether it be that or whether it be, having itching ears because you're no longer enduring what? Sound doctrine. You ain't trying to hear this. No, you ain't trying to hear it. So now I need to go find somebody that's going to, talk to my flesh. It's going to help my emotions to rise up because I can't hear these hard sayings. And it's the same things that they were saying in John 6, what we spoke about earlier. Why 58 people got up and just walked away from Mashiach. Hard sayings. They weren't trying to hear it. It's too much. I need something to appease my flesh. So that right there, man, that text right there, that always gets me. That always gets me. Again, it tells you to ready yourself for this battle. and be as a sojourner, and it tells you what that looks like, exactly, or how that looks. And this is the mindset that we are supposed to have. And if it's uncomfortable for you, you're not going to lay hold. That's just is what it is. Right? So this last text I want to read is from Malak Shalamah, who is King Solomon. And we all know about King Solomon being, asking for the wisdom of the Most High to be able to, lead over Yashara'al. And, because he didn't ask of riches and this and that, the Most High, added that unto him anyway. All right. He added unto him. So he was doing all right. He was doing all right. But let's see what he says. I think it's Ecclesiastes chapter 2. Ecclesiastes chapter 2. I'm going to start off reading 1 to 11, and then let me go here. Ecclesiastes 2, 1 to 11, and then I'm going to jump to 17 to 26. And these are his words. And the subheading here says, the futility of pleasure. I know we've read this before, but we're hearing it from the mouth of a man who had it all. So Ecclesiastes chapter 2, again, this is Malak Shalamah, King Solomon speaking, starting in verse 1 to 11. I said in my heart, come now, I will prove you with mirth or happiness, and behold you good. And behold, this is also vanity. I said to laughter, madness, and to mirth, why do you this? And I examined whether my heart would excite my flesh as with wine, though my heart guided me in wisdom. My heart guided me in wisdom. What does Jeremiah say about the heart? All right. Though my heart guided me in wisdom. And I desired to lay hold of mirth until I should see of what kind is the good to the sons of men, which they should do under the sun all the days of their life. I enlarged my work. I built me houses. I planted me vineyards. Let me just read that. I built me houses. I planted me vineyards. I made me gardens and orchards, and I planted in them every kind of fruit tree. Now, mind you, and this is not even in captivity. Okay, this is Malak Shalamah just enjoying life. All right. Verse 5, I made me gardens and orchards and planted in them every kind of fruit tree. I made me pools of water to water from them the timber-bearing wood. I got servants and maidens, and servants were born to me in the house. Also, I had abundant possession of flocks and herds beyond all who were before me in Yashara'al. Verse 8, moreover, I collected for myself both silver and gold also, and the peculiar treasures of kings and provinces. I procured me singing men and singing women, and delights of the sons of men, a butler and female cupbearers. Verse 9, so I became great and advanced beyond all that were before in Yashara'al. Also my wisdom was established to me, and whatever my eyes desired, I withheld not from them. I withheld not my heart from all my mirth, for my heart rejoiced in all my labor, and this was my portion of all my labor. And I looked on all my works which my hands had wrought, and all my labor which I labored to perform, and behold, all was vanity and waywardness of ruach, waywardness of spirit, and there is no advantage under the sun. So all of this stuff he did, gathering to himself and self-indulging and all of these things. And then he says, you know what? It was all vanity, all of it. Verses 17 through, what did I say? 26. 17 to 26. So he continues. So I hated life. I hated life because the work that was wrought under the sun was dysfunctional before me, or evil before me. For all is vanity and waywardness of spirit. Okay? All is vanity and waywardness of spirit. And we know what Malak Shalamah did, gathering all these things to himself, the foreign women and building to their pagan gods, to the point where Yashara'al is split in two, and after all of that, this is what it's come to. Verse 18. And I hated, what did I say? 20 what? Okay. Verse 18. And I hated the whole of my labor which I took under the sun. I hated all of it, because I must leave it to the man who will come after me. And who knows whether he will be a wise man or a fool, and whether he will have power over all my labor in which I labored, and wherein I grew wise under the sun. This is also vanity. So I went about to dismiss from my heart all my labor wherein I had labored under the sun. He went about to dismiss it. For there is such a man that his labor is in wisdom and in knowledge and in fortitude. Yet this man shall give his portion to one who has not labored therein. This is also vanity and great evil. For it happens to a man in all his labor and in the purpose of his heart wherein he labors under the sun. For all his days are days of sorrows, and vexation of spirit is his. In the night also his heart rests not. This is also vanity. A man has nothing really good to eat and to drink, and to show his soul as good in his trouble. Oh, sorry. This also I saw, that it is from the hand of the Most High. For who shall eat or who shall drink without him? So the Most High gives us all of our provisions. For who shall eat or who shall drink without him? For the Most High has given to the man who is good in his sight wisdom and knowledge and joy. But he has given to the sinner trouble, to add and to heap up, that he may give to him that is good before the Most High. So again, the wealth of the wicked is stored up for who? Right? For this is also vanity and waywardness of spirit. So I just wanted to end off with that. And just see, Malak Shalamah, this man who has, who had everything, self-indulged, this, now, whatever. And at the end of everything, it's nothing. It's vanity. The only thing we need to do, and we know what he says in Ecclesiastes 12, right? In Ecclesiastes 12, was that 13 and 14? For the conclusion of the whole matter is to fear the Most High and keep his commandments. For that is the whole man. For that is the whole man. For the Most High is going to bring every work into judgment, whether it be good or whether it be evil or good, right? Functional or dysfunctional. Our whole purpose is to please the Most High and to live as he calls us to live in righteousness on the Aratas, and it's for a purpose. To be a light. Because at the end of it all, the Most High is going to be gathering that which is light, that which is functional of Yashara'al, and for those strangers, those foreigners that will yoke themselves and say, you know what, we will go with you because we know the Most High is with you. Those who are sincere in heart, and those who will, yoke themselves to Yashara'al. Most High is gathering that which is functional. And that's why we have to always pray, because, the harvest is plenteous, but the laborers are few. That's why we have to always pray for laborers. I'm always praying for, laborers after the Most High's own heart to help gather the people, to be examples of how we should be walking this thing out. And that's what we should all be. Is just, I think we mentioned even last week in John 10, right? Those who go through the door are the shepherds of the sheep. Those who go through the door, that door being Mashiach, those who revere this word, right? And live by it, you are shepherds of sheep as well. That's what it says. That's in John. I think John chapter 10. Those who go through the door are the shepherds of the sheep. Are you shepherding well? Do you have that mindset of being a pilgrim, a sojourner, just passing through this, because your hope, your mind is on the things of Shemayim and not the things of our ties. So I'm going to go ahead and yield with that, family. Anyone has anything to add? I pray that it has been fruitful. If anyone has anything to add, or anything on their heart, their mind, they want to share, floor is open. All praises. Nada. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna yield. We're gonna go ahead and close out and pray everyone enjoys this beautiful day in the Most High. Again, we have Christy Travis Potter on at 3:30. Continue to have fresh manna, and let's pray that we just continue to, again, halak b'shalom, walk in peace, and do the things of the Most High. Khan, all praises for that. He put the link in the chat. So we're gonna go ahead and close out, family. Okay. All right. All praises. All praises. Again, all praises, honor, and glory belong to you, Father. Again, just thanking you for all things, great and small, Father. Thanking you for this time in fellowship, Father. Thanking you for bringing out, Father, the mindset that we need to have in these last and evil days, Father. And again, we thank you for just continually to watch over us, continuing to share with us, Father, continuing to show us how we should live, Father. And again, just thanking you for our kinsman redeemer, Mashiach Yahweh Shai, again, continuing to be that banner, continuing to to be that example that we ought to live by. And again, for his death, burial, resurrection being those first fruits of those that live. Father, we just thank you for all of these things, for just removing the scales from our eyes, removing the scales from our hearts, removing that veil, Father, that we may, see and discern properly, Father. And I pray that we allow you to continue to shape us and mold us into the men, women, and children that you have called us to be, Father, that we, that in our doing, Father, we can be those flames, that light, in the midst of this chaos, in the midst of this darkness, Father, that others may look upon that light and glorify you and magnify you and exalt you for the Elohim that you are, Father. So again, we just thank you, Father. Pray that you will strengthen us where we're weak and prop us up on every leaning side, Father, that if there be any unbelief amongst us, Father, that you will help our unbelief, Father, and that, again, that we will stand on the foundation of your word, Father, meditating these things, speaking life into ourselves, into our families, into our situations, Father. I pray truly that we subdue our understanding, again, through the lies and the confusions and the deceptions of Christianity, Islam, all of these other things, Father, that try to exalt themselves over your knowledge, Father. Again, pray that you will rebuke the devourer in the midst of us, Father. We just pray, again, the strength of Yashara'al to gather together amongst each other, just as Paul alluded to, same mind, same judgment, speaking the same things, Father. Again, knowing that, they will know that we are your disciples by the love we have for one another, Father. Strengthen us, Father, and have mercy upon us, Father, as we continue to, go forth this day, Father, as we continue to seek your daily bread for this day. Again, inhabit our every thought, Father. Help us to bring these, take captive every thought and bring it under subjection of your righteousness, Father, as we continue to give you all praise, all honor, and all glory in your most holy name, Manafah Mashiach Yahweh Shai. Hallelujah. Amen. All praises. All praises. All praises, family. Love y'all. Again, halak b'shalom. Walk in peace, family. Love y'all. Shalom.
Lord.
Shalom.
Shalom, man. Great teaching.
Hallelujah. Shabbat shalom.